Welcome back. So what makes someone leave everything and go for something with a 98% chance of failure? Well, to answer this question, we have three guests from the startup world joining us here in the studio. Yossi Taguri, CEO of Missing Link, and who you just met in the documentary. Hello, Yossi.
Hi.
Yael Citro, VP Marketing of Twiggle and former founder at LawPal. Hi, Yael. And last but not least, Irene Reznikov, Senior Analyst at YL Ventures. Hello to the three of you. Thank you for being here in studio. Now, to get us all in the mood and seeing we have an investor here with us, which, you know, you might have mixed feelings about that, we're going to start with some elevator pitches. How about that? So, pitch me, or I guess pitch Irene. Yossi, you start. 20-second elevator pitch.
So you probably heard about AI, right? There's lots of companies that build AI for something. You probably heard about Skynet and Terminator,
Let's just tell our viewers AI, artificial intelligence.
It's, you know, probably know about the Terminator and Skynet and stuff like that. So it's not like that. But instead of building another AI, we're building tools for companies that build AI to help them do it better and faster. So we're selling the shovels instead of the gold.
Selling the shovel, so in AI terms, that would be selling the actual reality and not feeling like you're the reality.
It's basically, you know, the gold rush, where the only one who made money were the ones who sold the shovels, right?
The shovels.
The shovels, yes.
So when you use AI, how can you kind of give a parallel to that? So anybody that builds an AI like Twiggle, for instance, or Facebook, or AI Doc, or Zebra Medical, which they're using AI to predict the chances that you have cancer, but like 15 years from now, not now, right? So you don't do that?
So we don't. We help them do what they do better.
Okay, I understand. All right, elevator pitch, Yael.
We're a little simpler. We're a little simpler. We've built technology that helps search engines understand people the way a store clerk would understand a person. So if you go into a store right now and you say, I'm looking for the safest bike helmet, you know, a human being effortlessly understands that the subject matter is a helmet and it's used in the sport of cycling, and that safety relates to if you have an accident, and they can show you what you need instantly. Online, a search engine has to understand that, and we've built technology that does exactly that. So you can connect customers to what you're selling faster and better.
So what I understand from you is understanding safety. What I understand from you is AI, and all I can think about is Arnold Schwarzenegger. But Irene, what did you think? What did you like about Yossi's pitch?
Well, I think it's great. I think AI, artificial intelligence, now is a hot topic, especially enabling technologies, enabling artificial intelligence. That's what Yossi is talking about. So I think it's a great idea. And I feel that he's connected to this idea, so...
And we saw he's very well connected. Yes. And what did you like about Yael's?
So it's the same story here also. It's very empowered by artificial intelligence technologies, Twiggle, so NLP, which is natural language processing. So I think it's a great idea. I think it has roots in, you know, in demand and market today. So yeah.
See, she's not as evil and cruel as you thought. You know, maybe you'll get some funding out of this. Okay, so we just saw this documentary, and we just saw 4 different startups, people who are willing to give up everything for this tiny chance that their dream will make it, that their company will succeed, and maybe even they'll have an exit. In Israel, we know that we have the most per capita, and of course Israel is known as the startup nation. Why are there so many startups in Israel? Why do you think this is, Yossi?
I think we don't have any other better thing to do. Most of us are unemployable, right? Did you ever try to manage a founder of a company? Most of us are not really easy to manage. So we find ourselves like the most comfortable places where some place that nobody can tell us what to do. And we're our own masters in a way. So
in Israel, everyone thinks they're a manager. That's what you're saying.
Absolutely. Give me 5 seconds anywhere. Already I want to.
You can have my job.
Yeah.
So Yael, why do you think?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I think that people who found companies think about it exactly the opposite of how you ask the question, right? It's not about why do something that has a 98% chance of failure, but why not do something that has a chance of success, right? Yeah. And they think about it differently, and so the challenge looks different, and it is incredibly exciting.
So your answer is basically, why not?
All right, second,
Oh, it's so exciting. It's so, I mean, not fun in the trivial sense, but when you know, there's really no greater satisfaction than when you build something that someone starts using and gets value out of. It's an amazing feeling, and I think anyone who's done it,
especially when you succeed, but even not, just the journey.
Even
so,
not.
Irene, your company has 10 portfolios. You've had 5 exits this year.
3 this year, but
3 this year, but 5 overall.
Yeah.
Why do you think, 2 questions, why do you think there are so many people going into the startup business, and then how many people do you meet, let's say a week or a year? Give us a good idea.
So there's about 5,000 startups in Israel. It's a huge number. We see at least 500 companies every year. So these are not even companies. These are 2 people, 3 people that want to start their own venture. And we see every week, I see at least 10 people, 10 teams. So there's a huge hype around this area. It's obvious.
And then how many would you fund out of the 500 that you meet?
So we fund 1 to 2 companies a year, something like that. Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard business.
Luck.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to know what the secret component is.
Yeah, for us as well, it's hard. I see a lot of teams that are great with great ideas, but eventually we're a focused investor. We invest in what we know, and we invest in what we can add value in. So, we have our fields that we like and fields that we understand, and we can add value to the startups. So eventually we will invest only in startups that we can feel that we can help them. So that's why,
You mentioned the word team, and I think that's a very important component. I'll throw out this question, and whoever wants to answer, how do you choose your team?
Oh, yeah. You speed date, and you go out, so you spend a week with, like you find them like a spouse. Or
okay, so
how do you do that?
You start working together? There's a
no
trial
formula.
period?
There's every period is a trial period with anyone, but there's no way, there's no recipe to finding the right people, because you have to spend some tough time with them to see that you're on the same page, and you need to complement one another. And it's really, really hard. That's the hardest task there is when you're building a business. It's, finding the right family to do it with.
All right.
Actually, it's the most important thing.
The most important thing. We're going to take a short break, but when we get back, we'll talk a little bit more about teams, how to choose the team, and then if the dating doesn't work, how to ditch the team. A few minutes, and we're back. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to High Definition. We're still in studio with 3 people from the startup scene. We have Yossi Taguri, we have Yael Citro, and Irene Reznikov. Thanks for still being here. So just before the break, we spoke about the business partnership and what's a good business partnership. But I want to ask you about an idea. So you wake up one day and you have an idea. How do you know an idea is going to be a good one? Yeah, let's start with you.
The best ideas, I think the best ideas, first of all, no idea is a good idea. It's all in the execution. That's first. Second, it's always good to solve a problem you have. If it's not a problem you have, it's best to solve a problem you know.
So when you say problem you have, you're talking about the market, whether the market needs it or not.
No, an actual problem you have.
You have yourself.
So the more, I think the more familiar you are with the problem you're solving, and the ways that you might try and solve it and why your way is a better way, right? You're already ahead of 90% of the startups out there. And most startups have skipped right over that step and just fall in love with their idea.
Very dangerous. Yossi, we saw this in the film. Some people accusing other people of falling in love with their idea. What do you have to say about that?
Effie was right. He's an amazing guy, but he was right. So I think ideas are bad. If you start with an idea, then something is wrong. It's actually, if you look on experienced entrepreneurs, they look for big problems. And they walk, in the street and they see problems all the time. So the question is, which is a big problem that needs solving? And you don't have to even know how to solve it. The fact that there is one and you can explain it, then it's obvious that if somebody would solve it, the business would be successful. So if you get,
But is it ever that obvious?
it's not that obvious, because sometimes you start with something, and it's really important not to imagine a problem. The problem with starting with an idea is that you imagine there is a problem.
Sometimes imagine a problem, then of course
Yeah.
you have to check the demand and do your research.
Yeah.
Irene, tell us, you see many different startups and you might see technologies that are similar to one another.
Yeah.
So ideas that are very close. How do you choose one idea from the other?
So first of all, as I said before, it's all about the team. You have to see a team who know how to execute. You have to see a team with a great dynamics. You have to see a team that has expertise in the problem they're trying to solve. And it's exactly the same as Yossi said. You have to see market demand to the problem. And a lot of entrepreneurs don't understand the difference between technology and product. A lot of entrepreneurs, they develop an amazing technology and they fell in love with the technology, as Yael said, and they don't understand. They have to check for market demand. They have to see market validation to their idea. So this is what we're looking for. But the most important thing is the team.
So we're talking about the team, and so I don't want to end on a kind of sad note, but if it's not working out and you don't want to keep dating your team, what do you do?
So you get rid of the one who doesn't fit the whole picture. It's really hard saying goodbye. But
and we also saw
to,
this in the documentary.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was very painful.
Oh, that can be very painful, but that's a result of not preparing for that moment. So the most important part of starting a company is actually describing how we're going to divorce. And if you're mature about it, and if you're ready, when something doesn't go along, doesn't go right, so it's really easy to go to separate ways.
And what do you think? Do you have maybe a personal experience about a team that you had to separate?
My team, my startup, when we dissolved our startup and we separated, ours, as good as separations can be, ours was a very good separation. But I think it's important to know when you've gone as far as you possibly can. Everybody in a startup does executes beyond their skill level, or maybe does things they haven't done before. But it's the way you execute and the commitment you have, and it's so personal, right? It's aside from having a child together, it's probably the most personal thing that people can do together. And it's so important that chemistry work, and if it's not working...
It's so professional, but it's so personal. It's so personal. So while we're still here, I want to take the advantage and ask Irene about is there a secret component that you look for when you meet these startups? This is our moment to kind of find out a little more who they give money to. Is there maybe a question that you ask, that you try to kind of see the demeanor? How are you able to really assess group dynamics? And what do you say as an investor to maybe throw them off or check their reliability?
Well, first of all, when you meet a lot of startups and a lot of entrepreneurs, you develop the hunch to understand whether they will be great CEOs or great executors. So that's the first thing. And as I said before, it's all about understanding if they have the right expertise to operate in the field they want to operate in, and if they understand the problem, if they understand the challenge, and if they have the right ideas to solve the issue they want to solve. But eventually, it's all about the people, really. Like as seed investors, you look for the right team, and you see whether they work together before. How is the dynamics between them? Do they work as a team?
It's hard to know when you have just 4 meetings with them.
So we try to do the due diligence process, investigate the team as much as we can to assess them, and this is the most important mission of a seed investor.
All right, so she didn't give away too many secrets, but thank you all very much for being here today. I wish we had more time. Irene Reznikov, Yael Sitro, Yossi Taguri, thanks so much for joining us. We'll, of course, be back tomorrow with an entire new documentary. Join us again. CEO of Missing Link, and who you just met in the documentary. Hello, Yossi.
Hi.
Yael Sitro, VP Marketing of Twiggle and former founder at LawPal. Hi, Yael. And last but not least, Irene Reznikov, Senior Analyst at YL Ventures. Hello to the three of you. Thank you for being here in studio. Now, to get us all in the mood. Welcome back. So what makes someone leave everything and go for something with a 98% chance of failure? Well, to answer this question, we have three guests from the startup world joining us here in the studio. Yossi Tagur, and seeing we have an investor here with us, which, you know, you might have mixed feelings about that. We're going to start with some elevator pitches. How about that? So, pitch me, or I guess pitch Irene. Yossi, you start. 20-second elevator pitch.
So you probably heard about AI, right? There's lots of companies that build AI for something. You probably heard about Skynet and Terminator,
Let's just
right?
tell our viewers, AI, artificial intelligence.
It's, you know, probably know about the Terminator and Skynet and stuff like that. So it's not like that. But instead of building another AI, we're building tools for companies that build AI to help them do it better and faster. So we're selling the shovels instead of the gold.
Selling the shovel, so in AI terms, that would be selling the actual reality and not feeling like you're the reality.
It's basically, you know, the gold rush, where the only one who made money were the ones who sold the shovel.